Farmlands that once echoed with the sounds of tractors and livestock are now under siege by an unexpected enemy giant wild boars. These powerful animals are destroying crops, tearing through fences, and leaving farmers desperate for help. But when they start moving closer to homes and villages, the fight for control turns serious. In this video, we head deep into the Bavarian wilderness to witness how hunters and locals are battling back against one of nature's most aggressive invaders. During my recent trip to the Bavarian countryside in southern Germany, I joined a group of experienced hunters to help local farmers deal with a growing problem: wild boars. These animals, once rare in the region, have multiplied rapidly and become a serious threat to farmlands, tearing through crops and even damaging property. The farmers' frustration had reached a point where coordinated hunts were now necessary to protect their livelihoods. Early in the morning, as fog rolled over the open fields, our team gathered for briefing and safety checks before heading toward the dense forest that bordered the farmlands. My hunting partner, Martin, a local with decades of experience, reminded everyone to stay alert, keep radio contact, and never take unnecessary risks. The first light of dawn revealed fresh tracks along the muddy trails, clear signs that a large herd had passed through the area during the night. We split into smaller groups, each assigned to a specific zone. The plan was simple: use the dogs to flush the boars from the undergrowth toward our positions. I found my spot near a slope overlooking a stream, where animal trails crisscrossed through the thick brush. The air was cool and still, broken only by the distant barking of dogs. After several tense minutes, I heard rustling in the bushes, a deep grunt followed by snapping twigs. My grip tightened on the rifle. Seconds later, a massive boar burst from the brush, charging downhill. Its size was astonishing, easily over 150 kilograms. I aimed carefully and fired once. The animal dropped instantly. As the echo of the gunshot faded, I took a deep breath and stayed alert. Often, one boar meant more nearby. Sure enough, a few moments later, another emerged from behind the trees, startled and disoriented. I adjusted my stance, fired again, and watched it collapse within meters. The forest quickly fell silent, and the smell of gunpowder lingered faintly in the damp air. Over the radio, Martin confirmed his group had also spotted several large boars moving east. We regrouped shortly after, checked our surroundings, and moved deeper into the forest where the terrain grew steeper and visibility dropped. Hunting in such conditions required absolute focus. One wrong move could mean losing track of your team or facing a sudden charge. Around mid-morning, we reached a clearing with signs of recent activity. Freshly dug soil and uprooted grass marked where the boars had been feeding. The dogs picked up the scent again and began barking furiously. Everyone took positions, scanning the thick undergrowth for movement. Moments later, a herd of 5 emerged in chaos, scattering in different directions. I aimed at the largest one, fired once, and then another as it stumbled forward. The others bolted back into the woods. Despite the success, we knew many had escaped, and that meant more nights of damage for nearby farms. By noon, the team paused for rest near a small stream. The hunters shared brief stories, checked equipment, and discussed the growing number of boars across the region. Martin explained that mild winters and abundant food sources had allowed the population to explode. Without natural predators, these animals now roam freely, often venturing close to villages at night. Their aggressive behavior during mating season had also increased the risk for anyone crossing their path. Local authorities had even reported several near attacks on joggers and cyclists in recent months. The hunt, therefore, was not about sport, it was about safety and balance. After lunch, we continued toward a low valley where farmers had reported heavy crop damage. The soil was churned up, and the cornfields nearby showed signs of destruction. Our guide, Peter, a retired forester, pointed out fresh hoofprints leading into the dense brush. We moved quietly, positioning ourselves around the area to form a semicircle. Within minutes, loud grunts echoed from ahead, and then a group of wild boars appeared, seemingly unaware of our presence. When they noticed movement, chaos erupted. Shots were fired in controlled succession, ensuring precision and safety. Within moments, the herd was dispersed, and several animals were neutralized. In the late afternoon, clouds gathered above the mountain ridge, hinting at incoming rain. We decided to move toward higher ground before visibility worsened. The climb was rough, with thick roots and slippery stones underfoot. As we reached the ridge, Martin spotted a dark figure moving across the open slope below. Through the scope, it was clear a massive solitary boar, likely an old male separated from the herd. It moved slowly but with confidence, stopping occasionally to sniff the air. I steadied my rifle, waited for a clear line, and fired. The shot echoed through the valley, and the boar dropped instantly. The sense of relief was palpable, knowing we had taken down one of the most destructive individuals in the area. By evening, we returned to the base point near the village to record the results of the hunt. Each animal was inspected, tagged, and documented by the local wildlife officers. They emphasized the importance of maintaining population control while ensuring the process remained ethical and sustainable. Nothing would go to waste. Meat suitable for consumption would be processed and distributed, while samples were collected for research on disease prevention. The collaborative effort between hunters, farmers, and officials reflected a growing understanding that coexistence required responsible action. Later that night, as we gathered near the campfire, stories from the day filled the air. Some hunters had faced close encounters where boars charged unexpectedly, testing their nerves and reaction time. One incident involved a hunter whose quick reflexes saved him from a sudden attack at close range. It served as a reminder that even experienced hunters must never underestimate the power and aggression of these animals. Despite the fatigue, everyone agreed the day had been productive and necessary. The villagers who visited later that evening expressed gratitude, explaining how these hunts had reduced losses and restored some sense of safety. The following morning, I joined Peter and Martin to survey nearby fields where the boars had recently caused destruction. Deep furrows cut across the soil, corn stalks trampled, and irrigation systems damaged. Farmers explained that in just one night, a single herd could ruin weeks of work. With limited resources, they relied on these organized hunts to manage the growing threat. Standing there, I realized how deeply intertwined this issue was with the livelihood of rural communities. It wasn't about adventure. It was about survival and balance between man and nature. As the sun climbed higher, we concluded the operation and prepared to head back. The forest, now calm, carried the faint hum of life returning to normal. Birds chirped again, and distant sounds of livestock echoed from the farms below. Though the wild boars would return eventually, today's effort had made a difference. Every controlled hunt meant fewer crop losses, fewer dangers for locals, and a healthier balance in the ecosystem. Before leaving, Martin turned to me and said, "People often see hunting as destruction, but here, it's protection. Every responsible hunter knows this balance matters more than the shot itself." His words stayed with me. The experience had shown not just the challenge of confronting nature's wild side, but also the responsibility that came with it. Each action taken here wasn't about domination. It was about ensuring that the forest, the farms, and the people could coexist in harmony. As we packed up the gear and loaded the vehicles, the sky cleared, revealing the vast stretch of the Bavarian landscape. It was a quiet, humbling end to a demanding yet meaningful day. The team exchanged firm handshakes, knowing that while today's task was complete, the work of protecting these lands would continue. For the farmers, for the forests, and for the balance that keeps this wilderness alive. Every hunt mattered. Thank you all for watching and joining me on this journey. If you want to see more real-life experiences of wildlife management and rural conservation efforts, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Every story we tell here is part of a bigger mission to understand nature, respect it, and protect it responsibly.